Okay, let me start the interpretation from the bottom portion of page number 35, which was left. This is another instant, and I have just started with one particular instant in one go. ये एक पर्टिकुलर उसको कवर करने के लिए यहाँ से मैं शुरू किया और कल वहाँ पे ब्रेक दिया गया था, क्योंकि ये एक पर्टिकुलर एक अलग से एक स्टोरी का या यूँ कहिए कि एक कुछ स्पेशल इंस्टेंस है. देखते हैं इसको. Suddenly, one day, mother became ill, and she and grandmother went to hospital. The commas has been used. These are also a part of the non-defining relative clause. Either you can use dash or can use commas over here. Suddenly, one day, mother became ill and she and grandmother went to hospital. Means one day at once means suddenly the mother became ill and my grandmother took her to the hospital. The little girl was left alone in the house with Elise the cook. Means the little girl Kezia was left alone, was alone there in the house with the cook. Name of the cook is Elise. I have underlined this one. This is quite important for you. That was all right in the daytime. Means it was all fine during the daytime. I'm changing the page now. You can see over here that is Mr. MacDonald having Mao on his shoulder, and the two girls are just hanging around the pockets, and two boys are there likewise, and she is just looking through a peephole, or you can say small hole from the head side. You can say this is your Kezia. So she was thinking that why my father is also not of this kind, why Mr. MacDonald is of this kind, and my father is quite different. It's also been said over here. The little girl saw through the gap, means a small hole. The MacDonald's playing tag in the evening. Tag is wo pakadam pakadai. Okay. But while Elise was putting her to bed, she grew suddenly afraid. Means when the Elise was putting her to bed, she has taken her to bed, and she was about to sleep. She grew suddenly afraid. She got afraid suddenly. What will I do if I have a nightmare? She asked. Kezia asked to the cook that if I had some bad dream, what will I do? I often have nightmares, and then Granny takes me into her bedroom. I often have nightmares. I often find or I often encounters with certain bad dreams in my life, in the bad dreams, and then my grandmother takes me into her bed. I can't stay in the dark. It all gets whispery. ... means she also says certain more things. I can't stay in dark. She is saying that I cannot stay there in dark, and it all gets whispery. I listen certain very low sound voices. मुझे कुछ आवाज़ें टाइप सुनाई देती हैं और मैं अंधेरे में नहीं रह सकती. You just go to bed, child, said Elise. Elise ने कहा कि बेटा कोई बात नहीं, सो जाओ. Pulling up her socks, उसने उसकी जुराबें उतार दी. And don't you scream and wake your poor pa. और जो है बेटा चिल्लाना नहीं और अपने पिताजी को मत उठाना. I'm changing the page again. We're on the last page, page number 37. But the same old nightmare came. One old nightmare, a bad dream came, which was the old. She often used to confront this. The butcher with a knife and a rope. The butcher, हिंदी में इसको कसाई बोलते हैं. The butcher with a knife, he was holding a knife and a rope, who came nearer and nearer, who was coming closer and closer, smiling the dreadful smile. Dreadful means bhayanak, Hindi mein. Means that was of a terrible degree. While she could not move, and she was not been able to move, could only stand still in her dream, Means she was holding her position and not being able to move, crying out. She was crying loudly in her dream, grandma, grandma. She was calling to her grandma. दादी माँ को वो पुकार रही थी जो है सपने में खड़ी हुई और हिल नहीं पा रही थी. That usually happens with all of us. She woke shivering. She woken. She woke shivering. Shivering means trembling. वो कांपते हुए उठी to see father beside her bed. Father was standing by the side of her bed, a candle in his hand, and he was holding a candle. What's the matter? He said. Beta, what's the matter? Kya baat hai beta? Tell me. Oh, a butcher, a knife, I want granny. Now this girl is saying, oh, I saw one butcher holding a knife and I want granny. I want my grandmother. He blew out the candle, the father. He means his father. Sorry, her father. He blew out the candle, means उसने extinguish, बुझा दी candle, bent down and caught up the child in his arms. He bent down and caught up the child in his arms. He held her in her arms, carrying her along the passage to the big bedroom. And passage means rasta, path. And it took her to the big bedroom. A newspaper was on the bed. He put away the paper, means he kept that paper aside, then carefully tucked up the child. Tucked up means उसको ढका आराम से, उस बच्चे को कपड़े से ढकना. He lay down beside her. वो उसके साथ में लेट गया, half asleep still. अभी वो आधी नींद में ही था, कच्ची नींद में था. Still with the butcher's smile all about her it seemed. ऐसा लगता था कि अब भी उस लड़की के दिमाग में वो बूचर की स्माइल जो है चल रही थी. She crept close to him. Crept. रेंगना, रेंग करके चलना. She crept close to her. वो धीरे से उसके पास जो है उड़ गई अपने पापा के पास. Snugged her head under his arms. Snug होता है छुपा लेना अपनी मुंडी को, और उसने अपनी गर्दन को उसकी बाहों के नीचे छुपा लिया. Held tightly to his shirt, और उसकी शर्ट को बहुत जोर से पकड़ लिया. Then the dark did not matter. She lay still. अब वो आराम से लेटी हुई थी और उसके लिए अंधेरा कोई मायने नहीं रख रहा था. Here, rub your feet against my feet and get them warm, said father. बेटा, rub your feet against my legs. अपने पैरों को मेरी टांगों से कर लो, and get them warm, और अब उनको गर्म कर लो, said the father. Tired out, he slept before the little girl. Tired, थका हुआ, totally just you can say exhausted. He slept before the little girl, means he slept before that girl. A funny feeling came over her. Now she was thinking bit funny. A special feeling just came in her. Poor father. Now she is thinking about her father. My father, poor father, not so big as I used to think her usually, but he is not so big. After all, means all in all, and with no one to look after him. At this time, there is no one to look after him. He was harder than grandmother. Definitely, my father is harder, is more stubborn, ज़्यादा कठोर है than my grandmother. But sorry, but it was a nice hardness. But I appreciate that as a father. A father should have hardness in him, and every day he had to work and was too tired to be a Mr. McDonald. And every day he has to work very hard, and he cannot be another Mr. McDonald due to his tiredness. She had torn up all his beautiful writings. Now she is thinking that I tore up all the beautiful writing of my father. She stared suddenly and sighed. She stared, V-W-E-R-E-D, weird. She veered sharply, means again, she just gave a jerk to her body and sighed, and she had a great relief. What's the matter? Asked the father. Another dream? Now father again said, Beta, what's the matter? Again the same dream is there? Oh, said the little girl, oh papa, My head is on your heart. Beautiful lines, just these are underlined one. 1, 2, 3, 2.5 lines, great lines of this chapter. Oh, said the little girl, my head is on your head. Papa, I have put my head on your heart. I can hear it going. I can hear, or I can listen the beat of your heart, or the running of your heart. What a big heart you have got. Papa, your heart is really great. Dear Father, oh my great Father, dear Father. Catherine Mansfield. So this is the end of the interpretation segment, and you might have seen in these last 2.5 lines, the things are quite different in perceptions of a child. Especially what he was thinking at the initial has totally changed in the last 2.5 lines. This is quite different from the very first one, and the understanding level has rose to a great extent at the last one. So this is being told. There are a lot of practical sentences are there in this chapter, especially related to your own life and day-to-day usage. So just try to go through this chapter very diligently and try to underline those sentences which can you use yourself in your daily life. So how a child perception change from the beginning to an understanding level at the last is being annotated, or you can say depicted, by Catherine Mansfield in this chapter. With this I finish this one. Have a nice day, great day.